Hi there. Real quick before we jump into the episode. If you enjoy this episode, or any of the other episodes, be sure to give us a follow or subscribe. It would also be great if you shared it with a friend, or better yet, left a review so others can know how awesome it is. Thanks so much. And now, the episode.
Hey there, Press Starters, and welcome to the Press Start Leadership Podcast, the podcast about game-changing leadership, teaching you how to get the most out of your product and development team and become the leader you were meant to be. Leadership coaching and training for the international game industry professional. Now, let me introduce you to your host, the man, the myth, the legend, Christopher Mifsud.
Hey there, Press Starters, and welcome back to another awesome edition of the Press Start Leadership Podcast. On this week's episode, we'll be discussing You Are Never Too Old to Learn, why lifelong learning defines great leadership in the video game industry. Staying curious keeps you sharp, creative, and adaptable. Discover how the best leaders in the game industry never stop evolving and why continuous learning is the key to long-term success. As the saying goes, once you stop learning, you start dying. In an industry defined by constant change, there is only one truth every leader eventually faces. The moment you stop learning, you start dying. The video game industry evolves at a speed that makes yesterday's innovations feel ancient by next quarter. New tools, new genres, new markets, and new mindsets emerge daily. Players' expectations shift overnight. What worked 5 years ago might not even make it to early access today. For leaders, this reality can be both exhilarating and intimidating. Leadership in game development requires more than managing schedules, budgets, or creative teams. It demands adaptability, curiosity, and the humility to keep learning no matter how many years you have spent in the business. Yet, somewhere along the journey from junior developer to seasoned executive, many lose that spark of curiosity. We stop experimenting, stop questioning, and start assuming we already know enough. It's a slow fade rather than a sudden fall, but it's one of the most dangerous traps in leadership. As the old saying goes, once you stop learning, you start dying. In creative industries like games, that's not just poetic, it's literal. Studios that stop evolving wither. Leaders who resist change lose their teams. And developers who cling to old ways become relics in a world that prizes innovation. So, how do we keep that hunger for knowledge alive? How do we stay open to new ideas while still grounding our leadership in experience and wisdom? It starts with understanding the journey of learning itself. Across the industry, developers tend to move through 3 stages of growth: junior, mid-level, and senior. Each level offers lessons about curiosity, ego, and humility. Understanding these stages helps leaders recognize where they and their team stand on the learning curve and how to guide everyone toward growth. The 3 levels of developers: the junior developer, the sponge stage. Everyone starts here. Juniors are hungry, excited, and unafraid to ask questions. They see the world of game development as endless and fascinating. Their curiosity drives them to experiment with everything: new tools, design systems, and creative workflows. They stay up late reading dev blogs, watching GDC talks, and tinkering with prototypes for fun. The junior stage is powered by enthusiasm. Mistakes are plentiful, but so is growth. Every failure becomes a stepping stone. Every success, a revelation. As a leader, watching a junior developer learn is like witnessing the raw joy of discovery that defines this industry. However, juniors often lack confidence and perspective. They can feel overwhelmed by how much there is to learn, or frustrated when things don't go as planned. The best leaders nurture this curiosity while helping juniors focus their energy. Actionable steps for leaders working with juniors: encourage experimentation. Give them safe spaces to try, fail, and try again. Pair them with mentors. Create a feedback loop where questions are welcomed. Celebrate learning, not perfection. Reward curiosity and initiative over flawless results. Offer small ownership. Let them own small features or mechanics to build confidence. The lesson for leaders: never lose sight of your own junior mindset. Remember what it felt like to be new, curious, and endlessly fascinated. Keep that energy alive in yourself and your team. The mid-level developer, the plateau of overconfidence. This is the most dangerous stage of a career. Mid-level developers have experience. They have shipped games, solved tough problems, and built professional confidence. But somewhere in that growth, a subtle shift often happens. They start believing they've figured it all out. That's where learning can quietly stop. The mid-level developer becomes more resistant to new ideas, preferring familiar tools, techniques, or workflows. They question change not out of curiosity, but out of comfort. They may even dismiss feedback from juniors or resist new leadership practices because that's not how we did it before. Every studio has seen it. The once curious developer becomes the gatekeeper of the right way to do things, and yet innovation depends on challenging what's considered right. As a leader, this stage is critical. It's where guidance, humility, and honest reflection can turn a mid-level dev into a future senior or into someone stuck in professional stasis. Actionable steps for leaders working with mid-level developers. Reignite curiosity. Ask them to teach or mentor others. Teaching exposes knowledge gaps and renews learning. Challenge comfort zones. Assign projects that push them beyond familiar territory. Reward experimentation. Recognize not just efficiency, but adaptability. Encourage self-reflection. Help them evaluate how their habits and assumptions may limit their growth. Model humility. Show that even experienced leaders are still learning every day. The lesson for leaders, beware of your own plateau. If you find yourself dismissing new ideas, ask why. Is it truly unhelpful or simply unfamiliar? Growth begins again when curiosity returns. The senior developer, the return to curiosity. At the senior level, something beautiful happens. After years of experience and occasional ego battles, the best developers rediscover the truth. They still don't know everything. They see the patterns, cycles, and evolution of the industry. They understand that technology, design, and culture shift too fast for anyone to stay an expert forever. This realization brings freedom. Senior developers stop guarding their knowledge and start sharing it. They experiment again, not to prove themselves, but to stay alive creatively. They understand that learning new things doesn't erase what they know, it enhances it. The humility of mastery is recognizing that mastery itself is temporary. Great senior leaders don't fear being students again. They're comfortable saying, I don't know, but let's find out together. That phrase builds trust, strengthens culture, and invites innovation. Actionable steps for senior leaders. Adopt a learn with me mindset. Encourage exploration across the hierarchy. Stay close to emerging tools and trends. Regularly test new engines, pipelines, or storytelling techniques. Invite reverse mentoring. Learn from younger devs who are closer to current trends or tools. Protect learning time. Schedule hours each week for professional development. Embrace curiosity publicly. Share your own learning journey with your team. The lesson for leaders. The higher you climb, the more important it becomes to stay humble. True leadership is teaching others how to learn, not just what you already know. Why leaders must keep learning. The game industry never stands still. The video game industry moves faster than almost any creative field, from pixel art to photorealism, from cartridges to cloud streaming. From single-player campaigns to live service ecosystems, the rate of change is staggering. Leaders who thrive in this environment understand that knowledge has an expiration date. What was once cutting edge quickly becomes obsolete. Unreal Engine updates, AI-assisted tools, monetization models, and global publishing platforms redefine what success looks like every year. Leaders who cling to the way it's always been done risk becoming irrelevant before the next console cycle. The only sustainable advantage is adaptability. Curiosity breeds innovation. Curiosity fuels innovation. Every major industry breakthrough, whether it's procedural generation, dynamic storytelling, or accessibility design, came from someone asking, what if we tried this instead? When leaders stay curious, they create space for teams to experiment, question, and iterate without fear. A culture of continuous learning becomes a culture of creative risk-taking. Ask yourself, when was the last time I learned something new about my craft? Do I reward curiosity in my team as much as efficiency? How do I respond when someone challenges how we've always done it? Your answers reveal whether your studio culture encourages growth or stifles it. Learning builds resilience. Leaders who keep learning develop resilience. The unknown no longer feels threatening, it feels exciting. When the next major engine update breaks your build or a new market trend shifts your monetization plan, a learning mindset turns frustration into opportunity. Continuous learners adapt faster because they don't define themselves by what they know. They define themselves by their ability to evolve. The emotional benefit of learning. There's also a deeply human side to all of this. Lifelong learners stay more engaged, passionate, and mentally sharp. Learning keeps us young at heart. It feels empathy because when you are learning something new, you remember what it feels like to be uncertain. That empathy translates directly into better leadership. When your team sees you struggle, learn, and grow, they feel permission to do the same. Actionable strategies for continuous learning. Build a personal learning cadence. Learning shouldn't be a luxury. It should be part of your weekly rhythm. Treat it like a meeting with your future self. Actionable steps. Set a learning hour each week. Read an article, watch a tutorial, or play a new indie game that inspires new thinking. Rotate focus areas. 1 week, explore narrative design. The next week, management strategies or AI tools. Track what you learn. Keep a simple journal or digital note of takeaways to reinforce retention. Leaders who schedule learning time signal that curiosity is not optional. It's professional maintenance. 2. Encourage reverse mentoring. One of the best ways to stay current is to learn from those newer to the industry. Reverse mentoring flips the traditional hierarchy. Junior team members share new insights, tools, or cultural trends with senior staff. Actionable steps. Pair senior leaders with juniors for informal tech swaps. Host monthly show and tells where anyone can demo new techniques or tools. Ask juniors to present lessons from online courses or conferences. Reverse mentoring builds mutual respect. Seniors bring wisdom, juniors bring freshness, both grow. 3. Attend conferences, retreats, and workshops. Learning accelerates when you step outside your bubble. Conferences like GDC, Gamescom, or regional developer summits aren't just for networking. They're engines for exposure. Actionable steps. Attend with attention. Go to sessions outside your comfort zone. Host a post-event debrief. Share lessons with your team and discuss how they apply to your studio. Budget for learning. Allocate annual funds for professional development, not just production tools. If you're looking for leadership-focused growth, events like the Press Start Leadership Retreats or specialized executive workshops provide a safe environment to explore personal and professional development. Promote cross-discipline collaboration. One of the fastest ways to learn is to collaborate with people outside your discipline. When artists understand code, designers grasp production pipelines, and programmers appreciate storytelling, innovation flourishes. Actionable steps. Host discipline swap days, where devs shadow another department. Run short-term jam projects, mixing roles and skill sets. Encourage open Q&A sessions where teams explain their workflows. Cross-disciplinary learning reduces friction and deepens empathy across departments. Leaders who model curiosity about every role build stronger, more unified teams. 5. Create knowledge-sharing rituals. Learning sticks when it's shared. Encourage your studio to make learning a habit, not an afterthought. Actionable steps. Schedule weekly learning syncs or lightning talks. Set up learning Slack or Discord channels for sharing resources. Reward contributions with recognition, not just results. Encourage postmortems that focus on what was learned, not who made mistakes. A studio that shares knowledge becomes a studio that grows together. 6. Practice reflective leadership. Learning doesn't always come from outside sources, and often comes from reflection. Actionable steps. Conduct quarterly self-reviews. What leadership lessons did I learn this quarter? Keep a private journal to track personal growth and decision-making patterns. Invite peer feedback from trusted colleagues. Reflection transforms experience into wisdom. Without it, even decades of work can't repeat the same year 20 times. Number 7, make learning playful again. Game development is, at its heart, creative play. Reconnecting with that spirit reminds you why learning is fun. Actionable steps. Experiment with small prototypes outside work. Explore games from genres or cultures you normally overlook. Take inspiration from other media, film, art, and literature, and discuss with your team. Learning should feel less like homework and more like curiosity unleashed. The mindset of the lifelong learner. The power of, I don't know. Admitting you don't know something takes courage, but in leadership, it's one of the most powerful things you can do. It signals honesty, humility, and openness. It tells your team it's safe to explore and experiment. Leaders who pretend to have all the answers create fear. Leaders who say, I don't know, but let's find out together, create trust. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. A fixed mindset says, I'm good at what I do and that's enough. A growth mindset says, I can always get better. In the game industry, the fixed mindset ages you fast. It makes you fragile in the face of change. The growth mindset keeps you agile, curious, and optimistic. It's the difference between surviving and thriving. How to cultivate a growth mindset. Reframe failure as feedback. Praise effort and learning, not just outcomes. Stay curious about others' perspectives, even when you disagree. Remind yourself that expertise is temporary. The best leaders are perpetual learners, humble, curious, and energized by discovery. The leader as the eternal student. Even at the top, you remain a student of your craft, your people, and yourself. The most respected leaders in the game industry are those who keep evolving. They read new books, study psychology, explore art, and play games outside their comfort zone. They seek feedback even when it's uncomfortable. They adapt their leadership style to new generations of developers. They stay students forever. Being an eternal student is not a sign of weakness. It is the foundation of lasting strength. Practical self-reflection prompts for lifelong learners. What did I learn this week that challenged my assumptions? When was the last time I learned something from someone younger or newer than me? Which habits or beliefs might be holding me back from new growth? What's one skill I could explore that would expand my creativity or leadership impact? Use these prompts regularly. They'll keep your learning muscle strong. Final thoughts. Keep the flame of curiosity alive. The most successful and fulfilled leaders in the video game industry share one trait. They never stop learning. They remain curious in a world that rewards curiosity. They embrace change instead of fearing it. They experiment, adapt, and evolve. No matter how many years you've been in the business, there's always something new to discover. A tool you haven't tried, a story you haven't heard, a lesson you haven't learned yet. Being open to learning keeps you alive creatively and professionally. It keeps your studio vibrant, your team inspired, and your leadership grounded in empathy and growth. So keep reading, playing, exploring, and asking questions. Keep challenging what you think you know. Keep making space for discovery for yourself and those you lead. Because in this industry and in life, the truth remains timeless. Once you stop learning, you start dying. All right, that's this week's episode of the Press Start Leadership Podcast. Thanks for listening, and as always, thanks for being awesome. Oh, hi. And the episode's over, but thanks for sticking around till the end. Be sure to check out more episodes in the playlist and new episodes every week on Monday. Follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to leave a review. Thanks again for being awesome.